Hey, fantastic fam. Welcome to our community where we combine the woo and the work. We are two professional women who believe we can have it all and constantly upgrade ourselves to meet our visions. I'm Kalyani and I've chosen the off-roading path to personal development, being an entrepreneur with the journey of motherhood. I'm an economics postgraduate and I love working with all things mind and money. I've founded and sold one business and I'm now building this business that feels like fun and freedom for life.
Hi, I'm Rupali. I'm a numbers nerd turned Reiki master and many other things. I found a passion for all things wellness. I've worked in banking and finance for 15 years and I love combining that knowledge with all things energetics to create impact in a fun, easy way for others. Join us as we share the behind the scenes of us creating wealth, freedom and magic.
Hi everyone, let's talk about the curious case of many of us who are listening to this conversation, whether it's on podcasts or on your podcast app or on social media. And what I want to speak about today is the curious case of being surrounded by abundance, being surrounded by money, meaning coming from wealthy families, from having sources of income, living in nice environments, but feeling a lot of lack, meaning calculating every 100 dirhams you were to spend because the lack comes from here. So let's break this down a little bit. A lot of my audience, especially if you're listening to me, you have a smartphone, you have an internet connection, you have the time to be able to listen and invest in your own growth, which means there is a lot of luxury that we take for granted that you have access to already. But you may still be feeling that you don't want to spend 150 dirhams on better groceries, or you don't want to spend 100 dirhams on, let's say, valet parking, while some other areas of your life, let's say spending on your kids' classes, 100 dirhams is one class for one child, which probably lasts for 30 to 45 minutes or an hour, may come easier to you. So what does this go back to? Now, one aspect of this is very important even to me in my planning, in my financial mindset, wealth abundance mindset, which is relating to value spending. For me, it needs to come down to the expenditure having certain amount of value, meaning it needs to align with my values. My values are, speaking for me, Kalyani, my values are relating to experiences, my values are relating to having abundance of nature. And if there's anything that kind of brings these two together, I don't mind the spend. Generally, this tends to be around holidays. Generally, this tends to be around experiences with family. And this also tends to be around my personal experiences around my wellness, my growth, my investment in myself, which is why this my channel, my business is called She Invests. Literally investing in myself is where I start. So all of this is very valuable to me and I will not bat an eyelid if I have to invest in any of these. If instead it was investing in luxury handbags or business class tickets or a much bigger house, these are not things that I value very much. In fact, they sometimes feel like a burden to me to manage, to keep, to maintain, to keep up with, because in my understanding, there is no limit to how many handbags you can have. There is no limit to how big your house can be. And then all of that becomes a chore, a burden that you need to kind of maintain, keep up with the Joneses and everything else. This is my personal thinking. I'm just sharing my point of view because I can. So what I mean to say is, when it comes to things like this, or buying, let's say, branded things for my kids, I don't see a need to do that. I don't see a need for them to be wearing Dior shoes and having Gucci clothes. Not at all. So they wear very normal kind of budget clothes because we give the clothes away, and we buy new clothes every time their size changes, and that's largely the case with me as well. I have a few classic statement pieces, but beyond that, I feel like I'm just fueling mindless consumption, mindless desire, and there is no end. So it stops having value. I stop valuing it. So yes, it doesn't align with my personal values, but also in the other sense of the word, I stop valuing it. This also goes back to the economics principle of diminishing marginal returns. So once you have too much of anything, it gives you pleasure, it gives you pleasure, it gives you pleasure, and then it tops up, and then it starts having a diminishing marginal value, meaning it starts having an adverse effect. It stops giving you pleasure. And this kind of makes sense in many ways. When you have excess of anything, even if it's the best thing, if you love sweets and if you have the first bite, it may be very blissful, and then you have the second, the third, the fourth. By the time you have the 10th bite, you've reached your maximum capacity to enjoy this dessert. After which point, if you carry on, because in your mind you have this impression of enjoying this a lot, but actually your gut, your body, your system may be totally kind of screaming and shouting against having the extra bites. And then if you have, let's say, 10 more bites, then that's having an adverse effect on how your body is going to take it, right? So you stop enjoying it after a point. So back to the point of enjoying spending on things that you have a value for, and until you actually value them. I hope that's super clear. That is very, very important. And the other thing that I wanted to share.
We would really appreciate your feedback as reviews on the podcast app you tune in from. Support us also by sharing this podcast with 3 of your besties who would benefit from being fantastic.